Recording started?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'll talk a bit about my experience about how can a green office create an own course. And the course I created with a group of students is called Becoming an Agent of Sustainable Change. And on the right, you see our visualization of this. So this is a person who's aware of the world and is thinking about taking action, is thinking about the systems of the world, about the future, of course, and about collaboration and norms and values. So first, I will tell a bit about the content of the course. So yeah, how we designed it and what are all the steps you need to take if you want to design a good course. And then after that, I will tell a bit about how we actually did it and were able to implement it in the university. Yeah, so I think the first part is like the more creative, exciting part, and then the second part is more practical, like how can you actually do it. And if you have questions in between, you can just ask, that's fine. So first, we wanted to, yeah, the abbreviation is MOOC, by the way, which is Massive Open Online Course. That's how we call them at our university. So we wanted to create an online course that contributes to a sustainable society by focusing on the individual, because we want to empower individual people to take action. And so then we have this goal, and we were thinking of the target group, and we decided to go beyond just students, but we wanted to make something that's accessible for actually everyone. Everyone who speaks English can join the course. And these are all people who would like to make sustainable change, but do not know how to start. And so the goal of the MOOC was to provide the participants with competencies to help them carry out the sustainability project. So in the course, they were going to design a project, and we gave them, helped them to learn competencies to carry the project out. So the setup of the course, we have 7 modules, of which first an introduction module, then 5 modules, and in each module they could focus on one important competency. I will focus on the competencies later. And then finally 1 module for wrapping up and finalizing the project. And it took about 3 hours per module for the participants. So it's quite a large course. And the most central important part of the course is an ongoing personal project. So we wanted all the participants of the course to really focus on something that they would like and a sustainable change they wanted to make. So this is different, I think, from courses where you only transfer knowledge, because then you can just say, okay, we want to learn these kind of things. But we decided that we want people to try a bit more of experiential learning, and to think about what they want to learn themselves and what change they would like to make in their environment. And finally, we have inspiration cases. These were people who already set up small sustainability projects, and we talked to them and we filmed them. And by the end of each module, the participants of our course could see how they dealt with defining a project, dealing with challenges, so that the participants could see, okay, what we're learning here in theory actually connects to the practice, and that they could get inspired by these cases. Now the competencies I'm talking about. So competencies are a bit different than just having knowledge. So it's also about your skills and attitudes and feelings, because I think a lot of university education is really focused on transferring knowledge, which is of course important, but I think the skills and the feelings and these kind of things also really need to be dealt with. So we chose 5 competencies, and they're based on sustainability competencies from literature. And I think we can discuss them later if you have questions about specific ones. But the basic idea is that in every module, the participants learned about the competency, and they could apply this competency directly to their own project. So in this case, all the things they were learning were relevant for their project. So then we were thinking about learning objectives. And setting learning objectives is really important if you're designing a course, because otherwise you just start out with a topic and you're thinking of activities, but you cannot really, you need to have a way to check if what you're doing is actually what you wanted to learn the participants of your course. So we formulated 3 main learning objectives, and where the participants are able to critically discuss the concept of sustainability and reflect on its use by different actors in society. Then have appropriated key competencies for sustainable development and put these into practice through a personal project. And finally, participants are able to reflect on their own sustainability competencies and how they can apply these in their field of expertise and or their daily lives. So these were our 3 main goals. And then we have more specific learning objectives for each of the modules. So every time when we were thinking of, for example, doing a video or an exercise, you can go back to these learning objectives and think, okay, do they still match? So in this way, you can keep design a really coherent course. And a bit of the participants had also freedom for their own learning objectives, because they could decide what they want to do for their own projects. There were, for example, people joining who are still in high school. So they maybe wanted to do something with waste on their school, for example, or having solar panels on their school. But there was someone joining the course who had a travel agency, and she wanted to make her whole travel agency more sustainable. So all these different projects, they did fit in the course. Yeah, and then finally, communicating the learning objectives is also important, so people know what they will learn and what they can get out of the course. So then learning activities. So online, there's a lot possible, and I think when we started this, the course, Corona wasn't yet here, so we weren't so familiar with all the online opportunities, but there's so many different forms you can apply. And I think the main challenge is to connect people, because yeah, you're not physically together, but I think one of the advantages is that you can have people from all different kinds of nationalities. So you have a very international classroom. So while on the one hand it may be more challenging to connect, on the other hand people can really exchange different views and different cultures, which is really important for sustainability learning. Yeah, these are some examples. So you can have knowledge clips, for example. So these are short, small videos, so not whole recorded lectures, but just a short video explaining a few concepts. And then after that, people can engage in exercises, discussions, individual assignments, and give each other feedback on these assignments. And also have things like polls and quizzes for watching YouTube videos and reflection. So these are the kind of activities that we applied in all sorts of creative formats. So then, what do you actually need to design and develop a MOOC? So these are a lot of things that you may not have yourself as a green office. So how we went about it, it's actually not, for us it was not a green office project only. So while I was working at the green office, the university started a MOOC challenge for students, in which students could develop an idea for an online course, and the best idea would win and would get implemented. So yeah, I subscribed and formed a team, and we formed this idea, and our idea got selected. So then we could create it. So the university, we did all the content, and we designed all the exercises, made all the videos. But the university, they had a team of pedagogical experts, they had technical knowledge. We are connected to edX, so this is a platform to publish a MOOC on. And they also had a whole studio with a camera and sound equipment, and worked on the publicity. So a lot of the things that we needed were provided by the university. So if you're thinking about this whole really professional MOOC, then if you can work together with a professional organization like your university, this is perfect because they probably have all the things you need. But of course, yeah, you also can do a lot with your own phone, for example, with a good camera, and just by being a bit creative, maybe asking for advice from some experts in your university for the content. So there are many possibilities, from creating just a few interesting knowledge videos to creating a whole course. So it really depends on what kinds of resources and time do you have, and can you connect to other initiatives that may have more resources and time. And by combining this, I think you can really create a nice result, a nice course. So the main challenges for us, yeah, it was first the possibilities of having something online, because if you want to design complex assignments, you need to be a bit technical, and we had some support of this, of course, but we couldn't create all the things we wanted. We couldn't have live interaction sessions in there. So for us, the interaction between participants was limited to a discussion forum. So we had to be really active on the discussion forum to keep the participants engaged and exchanging with each other. Then the main second challenge was when Corona started, because we were recording at the moment and we were not allowed to record anymore. So we had to really think of creative ways to record in a safe way. For example, recording online sessions such as this. And finally, we didn't have a test round, so we had to make the course, and it was published online. And we had over 1,000 people following the course without a few having tried it first. So this was quite a huge trial. Yeah, and I think we were quite happy with it. But if it's possible, it's nice to have first a small group of people trying your course, so you can make some improvements before actually launching it. Yeah, then the takeaway messages. So I think you just really have to accept that creating an online course is a learning process. You don't have to strive for making a perfect course in the first round, because you can always improve. And as long as you're learning, I think it's a very valuable experience. Yeah, and I think you can think of a really big course that make the whole world more sustainable. But when you're being realistic and you're able to take small steps, that's even better, because yeah, you can always create something bigger later on, but everything you create, I think, is valuable. And finally, I put my email address in there for if in case after the session you still want to contact me or you have questions. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to share about it. And I think there's now space for questions and discussion.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Antonia, do you want to go first? Any questions that came up for you?
I don't really have questions at the moment. Maybe I will write you an email later.
Yeah, that's fine, of course. So
do you find it meaningful for you? Like, is it something that you think could also be implemented in Konstanz, or?
Yeah, I think this is a really good idea, especially right now when there's Corona. These online courses are very important.
Yeah, I think that you can look from many forums. Like you don't have to create a whole course, but maybe if you have something interesting, you can just inspire people by recording a video about a topic, like showing them how they can do something sustainable. I think it's more inspiring than maybe just typing something.
So what I was wondering is why actually create your own course rather than using an existing online course? Because I mean, there's so many online courses out there. Why not just use what's there and then invite students to do it together?
Yeah, I think that can also be really useful. The reason why we created this, we started searching online for a course about sustainability that is accessible to all kinds of people, and where you're not only learning knowledge about sustainability, but actually a course that encourages you to make a change yourself. And that wasn't out there. So that's why we decided to create it ourselves. And I think it's quite nice because we saw in the first round that people are actually using the information, and yeah, they are really creating projects on their own. So people making their neighborhood greener, or organizing trash collection, or making their company or university more sustainable. And I think it's really nice if a course, an online course, can inspire people to take action.
You say again, what kind of projects they started?
All sorts of different things. So, like for example, someone started to inspire to make their university more sustainable. So this was a person responsible for the transport at their university, and this course helped her to make the transport more sustainable. But also a person who had, outside of her apartment, there was a whole parking lot with a lot of stone, and she encouraged the neighborhood and her municipality to take the stone out and to create a more greener space. Someone organizing a vegetarian dinner for the neighborhood to encourage more people to eat vegetarian. So these kind of projects.
Nice. Do you have an overview of this somewhere? Of the kind of things?
No, I don't.
And the course in general, is that available for people to follow, or is it more something to facilitate?
Yeah, I can share the link. So I think at the moment the second round is going, but there will be a third round. And the course is available. In principle, it's for free. You can buy a certificate, but you can access almost all of the content for free. Let's share the link with you. Or will I share it with everyone then? Oh, that's not a problem, I guess.
Cool, so you used edX for it.
Yeah.
And so you said that you had people participating who were students at the university, but also citizens, pupils from schools.
Yeah, we had like the youngest were about 16 or 17, from people till 70 years old. So it was quite diverse, and I think most people who are on this platform have studied in university, but not all. So we really had to think about how can you create something that's interesting for people who may already have studied things about sustainability, but also interesting for people who are really new to it and are not used to following scientific education. So it had to be quite broad and accessible, but still offer enough insight. So that's, I think, we really added a personal aspect to it, because I think that's interesting for everyone. So it was not only scientific, but it also had really reflections on, like, what are your values? How do you deal with people who have different values or different views on these kind of topics? And how can you engage with others? And in this way, we try to challenge all kinds of people.
Awesome. And so is this something that you would like other green offices to adopt as well and to start using this course?
I think it's definitely nice if they can share this course with people who are interested in it. And I think for us, it took almost a year to create this course, so it's really a lot of work. But I think you can use elements of online learning in all different sorts of ways. And you can also think of a blended course, like having some online videos and instructions to inspire people, but then also coming together physically as a group, yeah, to continue with it. So yeah, I think there are just from this course, I think what was the main takeaway for us was that you could see that an online learning can actually empower people. So it's not true that online learning is only a bit boring or an alternative for if you cannot come together physically, but it can be really valuable and empowering way of learning. So yeah, I think you can, as a green office, really use this idea to also create interesting ways of learning.
Yeah, Antonia, I don't know, did you still have any questions came up for you by now, or?
No, not yet.
Maybe one thing to think of, the Green Office in Hildesheim in Germany actually created a project called Your Goal, Your Action. And that's basically where they basically support students to do something similar as you, to like select a project that they would like to implement, and then they support them with like learning about project management and all the skills, the practical skills to actually implement that project. So I think it could be really useful for you guys to connect on that and see if they could maybe use your course, or I don't know if see any other opportunities.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Definitely. Because I think a lot of green offices are encouraging people to take sustainable action, but it's often limited to like, okay, separate your own waste or eat vegetarian yourself, which is really important, of course. But if you can like spread that impact by having people starting projects to also encourage others to engage in more sustainable behavior, then you can have an even more bigger impact as a green office.
For sure. I'm just searching the link for the project.
Ah, nice.
So the website is in German, but I'm not sure if
No problem. I can read German. I hope.
Yeah, so basically, again, my question was, since you spent a whole year developing this course, what's your vision for the future? Like, do you want to host this course every year and have it like an annual project, or?
Yeah, so because it's connected to the university online courses, it actually doesn't take us a lot of effort. So it automatically now will run for about 2 or 3 times a year for the coming 3 to 5 years, depending on how well it goes. And the university also offers, or they ask other students to help moderate the course. So yeah, basically what we have to do is just ask help to answer questions from participants, but there are also other students engaged. So most graduated, but when I won't have time for this anymore, then other students will be able to continue this. So I think that's really nice.
You said that it's integrated in the university now. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like our university develops more online courses for the platform. And they just treated the course we created as the same as the other courses. So that means that they are responsible for it and not the students. So I think that's we because in Wageningen our green office always has very little people with just a few hours a week. So we always try to develop projects in which the university can really take responsibility for it and carry things out, because they have employees who stay for multiple years and we have coordinators who only stay 1 or 2 years. So for the continuity of the projects, it's nice to have the university supporting projects.
Awesome. Nice. Well, that sounds like
Yeah.
a cool impact that you created there. Mm.
Yeah, so is there more to discuss about this, or is it nice to exchange some other things maybe?
Well, I thought we could have a quick look at the Qualifikation N from Konstanz.
Yeah.
I don't know if Antonia said you don't know so much about it yet.
Yeah.
If you want, I can just
Yeah.
share my screen and we could just have a look together at what it says on the website.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I think this is really cool that they also enable ECTS credits. So it's not just a sort of
Yeah.
voluntary course, but it's actually integrated with credits.
Yeah, so it would be in the like a free choice part of education of students. Like the core, like I think most studies have some free choice courses or something.
Yeah. I think almost all students have to do some courses like this, and I visited one last year, and there are many students who want to visit a course from the Green Office or from the Qualifikation N. So the students are very interested in it.
So I also really like that it's similar to what you did in Wageningen. It's not just about theoretical knowledge, but it's really about also having a practical project and then combining it with the networking aspect that then students doing different projects also meet each other and exchange their experiences. Is that also something that that was integrated in your course, Robin?
Yeah, I think like the actual meeting that's taking place here, that was not so present, but people were mainly meeting each other by exchanging peer feedback and by discussing on the online forum. So there they could see like, okay, I'm working on sustainability of food. Oh, someone else is working on the same topic, and there they could discuss. But I think it was we didn't create like this whole community that's still going to be in touch after 2 years after the course, which would have been nice, of course. But I think that's more in this program, I would say.
Right. Is this something that you think could be valuable to integrate in the next iteration of the course that you do? To also think more of how you can build a community among the people.
Yeah, I think that would be really good as well. But we also encouraged people to maybe not to have a community that's not only from participants in the course. So we encouraged people, like, if you want to do something in your neighborhood, go talking with people in your neighborhood. So to have this kind of community. But I think it would be definitely something to think about for the new course room.
So you had this online platform, and what sort of exchanges were happening there across the different projects? How could they inspire each other or learn from each other?
Yeah, so we had like basic discussion questions about topics where they could exchange. So this was more, we asked for just exchange about ideas or exchanging their own experience or telling a story about something they had seen from some sort of topic, and exchanging things about their own culture and views and values. So yeah, I would say this is more of a personal exchange, and then of course exchange of ideas. And then we also ask people to exchange their projects. So show on a map where they are located around the world, and then state really briefly what kind of project they were working on. So I think in this way, yeah, all participants, even those who started out with no idea, they were able to think of a project that they would like to work on, because you see so many examples of people around the world.
Awesome. So you had that wasn't clear for me. There was really people joining from all around the world, not just people in Wageningen.
Yeah, so because it's on edX, it's open for everyone. So yeah, we had like 110 different nationalities, I believe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I think it was really nice because we also wanted to give examples of people who think really differently. So with all these nationalities, you have very different cultures, because there were people from Europe, Americas, Asia, Africa, almost everywhere. So these people sometimes have fundamentally different beliefs about how the world works or what's sustainable or whatnot. And yeah, being able to exchange this, I think it's really valuable.
And how many people joined in total again? You said something like 1,000 or so?
Yeah, I think the first one were about 1,400 people for the first run of the course.
And so you already did 2 rounds of it?
Yeah, the second is running now, and I think there were quite a lot less, so maybe about 600 people or something. And I think now,
actually, sorry? How many actually? Because oftentimes with online courses like this, you have a lot of people joining, and then after like the first session, like 90% drop out or something.
Yeah. Like normally, I think only 5% of the people actually complete the course, and for us it was a little bit higher. But not everyone enters the course with wanting to complete the course. So a lot of people only browse some things they find interesting. And I think we only had a few people who actually really completed it and submitted all the materials.
So how many people finished the course?
I think about 40 people out of 1,400. So that's just a few. Okay. But compared to other courses, they told us this was high, which I find a bit weird, but yeah.
That's a high percentage compared to other.
Yeah. We're actually disappointed that there were just a few, but yeah, then on the other hand, I know that many more people engaged in discussions. So I think there were also people who learned from it without completing the whole course. So that's why I would say that if you're doing something that you want to aim at students or people located at your university, it's also good to do blended learning. So have physical meetings as well, because, or at least these kind of online meetings, because I think that encourages people to stay involved also in the end.
So with blended, you mean that people will also meet in person, not just doing.
Yeah, like online, offline combined. Yeah.
And did you find any other courses that could be useful for something like this, that maybe have slightly different approaches, but use this blended learning aspect maybe?
Yeah, I think a lot of universities are currently just applying blended learning towards for their own courses, because a lot of learning is online, and then some universities allow some learning on campus. Yeah, I think like online you can do almost everything except for really exchanging and talking. So I would say it's good if you can organize offline sessions in which people can just meet each other and talk about the topics from the course, these kind of things.
Because I remember the U.Lab. I don't know if you heard of U.Lab, Theory Presencing Institute. They do this, I think, every year now, that they have like an online course called the U.Lab on how to basically promote transformational change in your organization and your community and society at large. And
yeah,
they also have.
I think this is also really nice. I think they really do well, because they are creating these small groups in which you can discuss and meet. Also meet online, but I think they're also organizing physical meetups in different countries. So I think the U.Lab is also a really nice course, but it's maybe not so mainstream, I would say, because it requires so you really need to be open to these concepts to engage in the course, I would say.
Cool. Well, so we have 4.5 minutes left.
Yeah, you came up with quite a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean, I
What's
think
the
super
U.Lab?
interesting.
I never heard of the U.Lab. What's the U.Lab?
Yeah, so it's also an online course, and it's based on a theory U, it's called, and that's about creating transformative change. So it's also really about sustainability, and I think it's about connecting like yourself and who you are in the world to relating to others and relating that to the world. Yeah, so it's also really about personal growth and personal connection, and they are using quite some nice alternative techniques. I'm also part of a group on our university who is experimenting with these techniques. So there, for example, they're doing something called I'm not sure, some sort of theater where you're so they're trying to make the change from only thinking of solutions in your head to also connecting your body and what you're feeling and these kind of things.
Okay.
Yeah, also really interesting to work with.
And how are you applying this course? You said you're also actually working, or maybe not the course, but the methodologies.
What do you mean?
I think you said that you're actually trying out some of the methodologies from the U.Lab in your university.
Yeah, so we have a group of mainly teachers, but also a few students on our university, and it's called the Transformative Learning Hub. And they're just meeting every month, and then we're exploring a theme. And there's someone from the Presencing Institute, so someone from the U.Lab is present, and he leads parts of these sessions in which we're trying to talk about issues such as climate change or how to connect these types of learning to our education. And it's a group from Wageningen, but it's also open for people who are from other universities who are interested in these topics.
That's called Transformation Lab, or what?
It's called Transformative Learning Hub.
Okay.
So, but if you want the contact details of the persons organizing, I can send them to you later.
That would be great, yeah.
Yeah, I think they would be happy to connect to the international Green Office movement as well. And maybe it's also, nice for a few people from the Green Office movement to join a few of the sessions and to see if it's also interesting to do on other universities as well. Because I think it's a nice example, because these are just teachers who are interested in this themselves. So it's really a bottom-up movement, emerging.
Super cool. Yeah, please do send me the link, contact.
Yeah.
And yeah, Antonia, I just posted the link to the U.Lab also in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Thanks.
Maybe just the last minute here. What do you see as possible follow-ups here in terms of maybe further exchanges with other green offices or communicating what we've learned to other green offices? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think like everyone who's interested in, I think because Wageningen University has a green office for quite a few years already. So, and in education, we've had people who are quite specialized in it also in their studies. So if you're interested in it, in education of students, but also in education of teachers, we've quite a lot of specialization. So, yeah.
All right, awesome.
We could, yeah. I'm not sure if there's like one